popular people, it is Mark and Carlo from Most Popular Girls in School.
Welcome to the making of MPGIS 360. Now y'all have probably already seen all the MPGIS 360 videos. We wanted to create this to give you a little peek behind the scenes of how we actually made it all come to life.
We made these videos as part of a VR lab that YouTube actually hosted with the help of companies like VR Scout and VR Playhouse, and then Carlo and I teamed up with Paris McCoy and our friends over at Anti-Villain Media to get you guys into the world of Most Popular Girls in School.
So sit back and enjoy this trip behind the scenes of MPGIS 360.
When we first started this project with YouTube, we didn't really promise anything as much as just saying we're going to see if we can figure out a way to do stop motion 360 VR. And there was a few examples of some people who had tried it, but no one had really quite figured out how to make it feel like you're in this stop motion world. And I didn't think it was going to be a whole lot different than the way we normally shoot, and that turned out to be completely wrong because it was completely different. YouTube selected the Most Popular Girls in School and several other channels to participate in a VR boot camp where we got training by professionals in the industry on all kinds of different VR equipment, software, and the techniques that we would need to use to bring 360 videos to our channels.
In our VR lab, we spent a lot of time talking about stitching and different software and tools and different things to use in the post-production process. And so the post-production process for us was huge.
You know, typically when we're writing episodes of Most Popular Girls, we know what the story is going on, we're able to direct the action to the viewer, but with these, it's experiential. You are in this world, you are a part of it. So it had to be approached a little bit differently from a writing point of view.
The biggest problem that we had from the very beginning was just the camera. What was great was when we were going through the VR training sessions at YouTube, they showed us a lot of different cameras, amazing ones, but none of them were designed for what we wanted. I mean, no one is designing a camera for stop motion VR because it doesn't exist right now. No one does it. Either some were enormous and would have been the size of our entire sets, or some were incredibly small and couldn't take stills. None of them had the one thing that we really needed for a camera, which was to have a way to actively play back every shot we take as a video reference for the animator. Because when you're animating stop motion, you're doing it one frame at a time. So you take one still image, you move the doll a little bit, then you take the next still image. And when you play all the stills together, the doll will appear to move and will actually, come to life. But for our animators to get very realistic motion and to make sure that the motion is smooth and precise, they need to be able to see where those last few shots were so they know where they're moving the hand or the head or whatever they're doing next. So that's the video reference, the playback that they need, and it's the one thing that no VR camera was able to provide for us.
We spent a good amount of time testing the process, thinking of ways that we can build a rig that would be sustainable for stop motion and 360, and we came up with a nodal system using an A6300 Sony.
We took a small Sony mirrorless camera and fitted it with an incredibly wide 6.5mm fisheye lens, which basically sees everything. It can see behind the camera. It's like the widest angle lens that was available for that type of model camera. And then we mounted that to a motion control unit that was then connected to our computer. And what that did was, instead of taking one picture like an animator normally would, this system would take a picture and then rotate the camera a couple degrees, take another, rotate, take another, until it finally took 6 pictures in all different directions. And that gave us our 360 view. So as opposed to having some sort of camera unit that had multiple cameras, which is the typical way VR and 360 is shot, we used one camera and just spun it around 6 different times for every single frame. Once we had the camera rig set up, then we had to figure out how to re-engineer how we build sets. Normally in stop motion, half of the set is completely wide open and there's a human animator 2 feet behind the camera who's reaching in and adjusting the puppets every single frame. But in VR 360, we had to build an entirely enclosed set. So we had to figure out how do we build a set that completely seals in the characters and yet still access them every single frame of the shot. So what we ended up doing was building all 4 walls to a set and building a ceiling. And then what we would do is take pictures of what it looked like when the ceiling was on and what it looked like when the 4th wall was on. And then we would remove them shoot the entire scene, and digitally put those things back in the final edit. So when we were actually shooting these shorts, an entire wall was missing and the ceiling was removed, which allowed the animator to get in close and, animate the dolls.
In the post-production process, we used After Effects and we used a great deal of masking to place our plates in our scene very, very seamlessly. And that was a fairly fun but challenging process, and I think that my team did a great job with that. For our stitching, we used Auto Pano Video and Auto Pano Giga to really find some really good stitch points, to work on our horizon, to really get into stitching, make it as clean as possible before even working with my VFX person to tighten up this world that we've created, these scenes and these sets in a 360 space.
The last real big problem we had was how to actually stand the dolls and get them to walk. Because normally when we shoot in stop motion, we glue the doll's feet to like a big metal plate and that stands them up, and then you can slide the plate around and that's how they walk. But when you're shooting VR 360, you're shooting the entire doll. You're shooting the feet and the head. There's nowhere you can hide wires or glue them down to anything. They have to be able to move freely. So what we ended up doing was we developed these very thin little green foot plates.
They created these green foot plates that were able to keep the character standing, but at the same time they were there for us and for me and my team to key out. And that was really great. We were able to key these green feet out and match them to the floor, and we also had a little challenge in one of our episodes where our floor was checkered, but my VFX guy, Will, he really blew through that. We really figured it out and it was great. But after sound design and sound sweetening, the fun part comes in, and that's the spatial audio. So in one of our episodes, the characters actually talk to the camera, i.e. the viewer, you. So they're talking to you and they're moving around the set. So it's really cool that you can hear different characters coming from different parts of the set. As they get closer, they get louder. As they lean in to talk to you, they get louder.
This bathroom, it's not for you. Cheer squad only, bitch!
Just using that spatial audio to really sweeten the experience of what you're looking at in your whole world, how the audio moves and moves in and moves out in this 360 world really makes a difference.
We also couldn't do what you would normally do in VR, which is rehearse. We couldn't have the dolls run through their blocking. Animation takes forever to do, so we had to plan everything out ahead of time, and then once we started shooting, we had to figure things out as we went. So one of the main things we did was we did a vertical animatic, which is basically a digital representation of what the blocking's going to look like when the characters are going to move through the set, where they're going to be, and when that's going to happen. And that kind of allowed the animator to plan and see when these characters are leaving this part of the room, these characters are going to be coming in. Because once we started shooting, we couldn't do any retakes. We couldn't take it back or let's do that again. It's all shot at once. So one of these videos that was, let's say, 3 minutes long would take an animator 2.5 weeks of solid work just to animate. All in one take. No retakes, no cuts, no do-overs.
Now, as we were plotting out what we were going to do and trying to wrap our heads around what these different experiences should be, one of the things that we try to do is really put ourselves in the shoes of our fans and our most loyal viewers, right? So, we've done 80 plus episodes of Most Popular Girls, so we know these characters really well. And what we wanted to do was think about what, as a fan, would be the most fun, most intriguing experience. Like, if you had your choice to teleport directly into an episode of Most Popular Girls, where would you want to go? And so the first thing that popped up was, oh my God, you would want to be the new kid at school.
Wow, what the fuck are you doing in here? This is for Cheer Squad only.
And then we thought about, all right, what is one of the most iconic places that all of the fans would actually want to step into? And it's Pizza Street. And we also felt like that was a venue where we could do some of the coolest things action-wise, right? Like have Deandra toss this giant salad bar. We got Brittany flipping tables, glass breaking, and it was a perfect venue whereby we could create a real, authentic MPGIS experience that for the first time you are actually in and a part of.
As a fan initially, and as a cinematographer who is working in the VR 360 space, having the opportunity to take one of my more favorite shows and turn it into this 360 world is probably one of the greatest gifts that I could give to the fans from a fan.
Hopefully this is just the beginning. We're really excited about how these shorts came out, but we also have a lot of plans for how to do some great, amazing new stuff with VR and stop motion. So we're hoping to get right back into Overland Park very soon and let you guys hang out with the most popular girls in the school even longer. Thank you so much for watching this making of, guys. Don't forget to watch our amazing 360 videos and put on a headset to get a full experience. It'll be like you're in the world.
Yeah, make sure you subscribe to this channel for more VR content, for more brand new Most Popular Girls videos, and go ahead and throw us a comment below and tell us where in Overland Park we should shoot our next VR video. Where would you like to travel in the world of 360?
See you next time, guys.
All right, bye.
Bye.